the real condensed version of it? What happened here?
Well, so Floyd Mayweather wants his dream house, and he was looking at a $139 million property in the hills of Bel Air.
He's filing for Chapter 11, so he's going to be able to try and restructure his debts and have his assets doled out. There are liens already filed on some of his properties. The IRS had filed for a lien previously.
His accountants and lawyers screwed up, so the tax court said, hey, you were too late appealing this. You got to pay us back all the tax plus penalties plus interest. Moral of the story, pay attention to the deadlines on the...
Floyd Mayweather just came out saying the fight with Logan Paul was fake. And he did this in front of the press where he started to brag that he made $100 million personally from the fight.
With his beef, but they're basically saying that Floyd Mayweather is broke and owes.
Kill her, threats to make her disappear, and things could have gotten even more out of hand than what they did.
Floyd Mayweather didn't just make $1 billion. He might have lost it all. And if the scams and accusations keep piling up, this could end in court. What really happened to boxing's biggest empire? And was it all a lie from the start? The whispers are growing louder than the bragging. Financial lawsuits, fractured friendships, crypto scams, exhibition fights no one watches, and rumors of a $402 million disaster. This isn't just another fall from grace headline. This could be the unraveling of boxing's richest brand. And what's coming out now? It might change how we see Mayweather forever. Before the money, before the fame, and before he became Money Mayweather, Floyd was just a kid trying to survive. Born in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and raised in a one-bedroom apartment often crowded with 6 or more family members, his early life was marked by poverty, instability, and darkness. Literally, there were days with no electricity, no heat, no food in the fridge. His mother struggled with substance issues, and his father, a former professional boxer, was frequently in and out of prison. But through that chaos, there was one constant: boxing. Floyd didn't grow up with boxing. He was born into it. His father trained him from the time he could walk, sometimes harshly, always intensely. There were no breaks, no excuses. By the time Floyd reached his teens, he was already a prodigy, not just gifted, but disciplined beyond his years. He wasn't partying, he wasn't distracted. He was working, always working. That work ethic paid off when he represented the United States at the 1996 Olympics in Atlanta, winning a bronze medal. But even then, controversy followed. Many believed he was robbed of the gold by biased judging. It was a pattern that would continue. Floyd Mayweather dominating in the ring, yet somehow always walking into a fight outside of it. After turning pro, he signed with top-rank promotions and quickly made a name for himself as Pretty Boy Floyd. Fast, elusive, a defensive genius. But despite his near-flawless performances, he wasn't earning what he believed he deserved. Millions were being made off his fights, just not by him. He was bringing in viewers, breaking records, and yet still collecting only a fraction of the profits. And Floyd Mayweather wasn't built to play second fiddle. In 2006, he made a career-defining decision that shocked the industry. He bought out his own contract from Top Rank for $750,000. At the time, it was seen as reckless. Who walks away from a major promoter? Who bets everything on themselves in a business as cutthroat as boxing? But Floyd didn't just want to fight. He wanted to own the fight. That's when Money Mayweather was born. With Mayweather Promotions, he took full control of the matchmaking, the marketing, and most importantly, the money. Suddenly, he was no longer a cog in someone else's machine. He was the machine. In just a few years, his fight purses jumped from single-digit millions to over $100 million per bout. He turned boxing into a business model and himself into its CEO. He wasn't just undefeated, he was unstoppable. He went from being underpaid to making $100 million a night. But the fortune came with a dangerous price tag. He bought multiple private jets. He wore diamond watches that cost more than most people's homes. He walked into designer stores with $1 million in cash and walked out with the walls. He lived like a man untouched by consequence. But while the cameras captured the cash, what they missed was the cost. Because the more Floyd's wealth exploded, the more the people closest to him began to disappear. The money persona wasn't just a nickname. It became his identity. Every Instagram post, Every interview, every press conference, it was all part of the brand. Excess, arrogance, and control. He didn't just show off wealth, he weaponized it. It gave him power, fame, and attention. But it also created fractures that no dollar amount could fix. His father, Floyd Sr., was once his fiercest supporter and trainer. But as Mayweather's empire grew, their relationship began to fracture publicly. What started as quiet tension exploded into verbal spats during training sessions and interviews. His father later admitted, "We never argued until the money came in." What once united them, boxing, was now buried under pride, control, and resentment over who deserved the credit for Floyd's success. Then came 50 Cent. Once considered Mayweather's best friend and business partner, their friendship was headline news, until it turned into a war of words. 50 Cent accused Floyd of abandoning their business ventures and treating loyalty like a commodity. He claimed Floyd was consumed by money, using people as tools, discarding them when they no longer served his purpose. Their fallout wasn't subtle. It played out on social media, in interviews, in diss tracks. But perhaps the most gut-wrenching betrayal came from within the sport itself, with Gervonta "Tank" Davis, Floyd's hand-picked protege. Mayweather helped build Tank's career from the ground up, positioning him as the future of boxing. But behind the success, Tank says he felt like a pawn. He accused Mayweather of controlling his money, his contracts, and his independence, all under the guise of mentorship. "They feed you just enough," Tank once said, "to keep you loyal, but never enough to stand on your own." These weren't isolated feuds. They were a pattern, a trail of burned bridges. As Mayweather's net worth climbed, so did the number of people stepping back from him. People he once celebrated with, now publicly criticizing him. Not because he failed them professionally, but because they felt used, controlled, discarded. But broken friendships were just the beginning. The respect started to unravel too. He didn't just want to be the richest, he wanted to be the greatest. So when Floyd said Muhammad Ali wasn't even top 5, fans and legends lost it. In one of the most controversial interviews of his career, Floyd dismissed Muhammad Ali's status as the greatest. He cited Ali's losses, questioned the quality of his opponents, and even claimed that Ali had lost all 3 of his bouts against Ken Norton, a statement widely disputed by boxing historians. To Floyd, greatness meant perfection, an undefeated record, maximum earnings, minimum risk. But to many fans and analysts, that mindset missed the point. Ali wasn't just a boxer. He was a movement. He stood for civil rights, for principle, for legacy beyond the ring. He sacrificed years of his prime for what he believed in. When Floyd said he'd done more than Ali because he'd never lost, critics responded immediately. Stephen A. Smith, one of ESPN's biggest voices, called the statement blasphemous, arguing that numbers alone don't define greatness, character does. And Mike Tyson, a man who knew all about both glory and downfall, publicly warned that Floyd's obsession with his own reflection could become his undoing. "He's too into himself," Tyson said. "Eventually, you have to face who you really are." What had once been seen as brilliant self-promotion, the villain persona that sold tickets, now felt like something more toxic. Fans didn't just root against Floyd anymore, they resented him. His arrogance had gone from calculated performance to something deeper and darker. He wasn't just playing the heel, he was becoming one. Still, the hits kept coming, but not in the ring. He retired undefeated. 50 fights, 50 wins. A spotless record that no modern fighter could touch. Floyd Mayweather walked away from the sport at the top, rich, healthy, and invincible. But then, he came back, not to chase glory, not for belts, but to fight YouTubers in half-empty arenas. No judges, no titles, just spectacle. And for many, it was the first sign that something wasn't right. Floyd's return to the ring began not with a top contender, but with a teenager from Japan. In 2018, he faced kickboxer Tenshin Nasukawa in a bizarre exhibition match that many claimed was choreographed. Mayweather knocked him out in less than a round, earning millions in minutes. At first, Fans chalked it up to another clever payday, a harmless side hustle. But then came more. In 2021, Floyd agreed to fight Logan Paul, a YouTube star turned part-time boxer. The hype was massive, but the fight itself? Uninspiring. It ended with no winner declared, no official scoring, and no real danger. Just 8 rounds of posturing and clinching. Still, the event made headlines. But what came afterward made even more. Logan Paul went public with a shocking accusation that Mayweather had failed to pay him the full purse. "Where's my money, Floyd?" he asked bluntly in interviews and online. The claims sparked serious questions. Was this the same man who once flashed million-dollar watches, now struggling to settle a paycheck? Then came Deji, another influencer who fought Mayweather in 2022. Though their bout was less hyped, it followed a similar pattern. Low stakes, flashy promotion, and behind-the-scenes whispers about confusing business deals and payment delays. By 2023, Mayweather was still fighting, but few seemed to care. His exhibition against British reality TV personality Aaron Chalmers at London's O2 Arena was supposed to be another showpiece. Instead, it was a ghost town. Entire sections of the arena sat empty. Ticket sales were sluggish. Pay-per-view numbers were barely a fraction of what they used to be. Even boxing promoter Eddie Hearn, someone who once admired Floyd's marketing genius, admitted he didn't know a single person who watched the fight. It was irrelevant, he said. Nobody cared. And then came the real bombshell. For years, Floyd had claimed to be a billionaire. He bragged about 300 million nights, about owning private jets, and 60-plus real estate properties. But according to multiple reports, and insiders like Chael Sonnen, the real number might be far lower. Sonnen suggested that after taxes, expenses, and his extravagant lifestyle, Floyd may have walked away with closer to $100 million in net profit from his entire career. Not a billion, not even half, just a fraction of what the public believed. Then came the scandal that made fans ask, is Floyd Mayweather broke? Floyd Mayweather built an empire by flashing wealth, but now, that very obsession has tied his name to one of the biggest financial controversies in sports history, a $402 million cryptocurrency scheme. And at the center of it, the man known as Money. In 2022, the SEC, the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, launched investigations into celebrity crypto endorsements that misled investors. Floyd was one of the names mentioned. Alongside other high-profile figures, he had promoted tokens that later crashed in value, wiping out millions from everyday people's wallets. Mayweather denied any wrongdoing, but the legal storm left a stain on his already controversial reputation. Then came the Business Insider report, an in-depth look at Floyd's claimed real estate empire. While Floyd publicly boasted of owning over 60 properties, the investigation revealed that many of them were co-owned, heavily financed, or structured through shell companies. The report didn't claim fraud, but it did suggest one thing clearly. The numbers weren't adding up. And then came the story that went viral for all the wrong reasons. Floyd Mayweather, detained in Dubai over unpaid debts. The rumor spread fast. TikTok, Reddit, boxing forums. The story claimed he couldn't leave the UAE because of unresolved financial issues. There was no confirmation, no arrest record, no public statement, just silence. But then, seemingly out of nowhere, a fan filmed Floyd sitting courtside at a Clippers game in Los Angeles. The internet lit up with confusion. If he was detained in Dubai, how was he now in LA? Some called the Dubai story a hoax. Others whispered about quiet legal settlements. And a few went further, claiming it wasn't even really him courtside. Theories spiraled. What mattered wasn't the truth, it was the doubt. And that's when even Floyd's biggest fans started asking, he sold the world a dream of limitless wealth, control, and dominance. But as the scandals mounted and the arenas emptied, one brutal question remained. Was any of it real? In the ring, Floyd Mayweather is untouchable. 50 wins, 0 losses, multiple world titles. He redefined defensive boxing, outsmarted punchers, bruisers, and champions. He didn't just fight, he studied, analyzed, and dismantled. His boxing IQ was unmatched, his timing surgical. But outside the ropes, the story shifts. He alienated friends, damaged his relationship with his father, lost the loyalty of protégé, turned once close partners into public critics. The man who preached independence and success ended up isolated, surrounded by yes men, lawsuits, and doubt. His obsession with control, with always being the richest, the smartest, the alpha, may have cost him the very thing he once claimed didn't matter: respect. For years, Floyd made people believe that he was the model of success, flashy, fearless, and free. But the deeper you look, the more the empire starts to feel like a mirage, something built more on illusion than legacy. His fights used to be events, moments, global spectacles that stopped time. Now, they're barely noticed, watched more out of curiosity than admiration. And maybe that's the tragedy of Floyd Mayweather. He won every fight, but lost the war for connection, loyalty, and genuine legacy. He protected himself so well in life, just like he did in the ring, that no one ever got close enough to hit him or to know him. So what do you think? Did Floyd Mayweather master the art of defense, only to defend himself from the one thing he couldn't outbox? The truth? Was it all business? Or did he build a castle out of cards? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Like this video if you're fascinated by stories that go beyond the headlines. Subscribe to the channel for more breakdowns, exposés, and behind-the-scenes stories from the world of sports. And turn on notifications, because the next story might be even wilder than this one. Until next time, peace out.